My local Joann store closed, and as they were marking everything down in the entire store, I kept my eye on the Vogue patterns. And just the second they marked them down to an unbelievably low price, I pounced. You won't believe what I paid for these. Hi, I'm Tony. Welcome to So Lounge. Think about the last time you bought more than 2 or 3 Vogue patterns. They're crazy expensive, right? I think for sure Vogue patterns are the most expensive pattern they have at Joann's. If you know of a pattern that costs more, leave it in the comments below. On a good day, you might be able to get 40% off the listed price. But let's talk about those listed prices. I don't know if you've looked recently, but most Vogue patterns are listed between $32 and $35. That's crazy for a pattern. Now, just for comparison, I went back through some of the patterns I bought in college, and even in the 90s, they were $18 to $25. So, as you know, Joann's rarely marks down the Vogue patterns, and when they do, they are $5.99, which is still a bargain. Don't get me wrong, it's better than $35 any day of the week, but still a lot of money, and maybe you'll buy 2 or 3, but you'll focus your patterns on the cheap ones. So you can imagine how I totally freaked out when I went to my Joann's after watching for weeks of the store closing proceedings and everything in the store 50% off. Okay, patterns are 50% off. Okay, that's good, but that's not great. And then all of a sudden I walk in and all the patterns are $1.99, including Vogue. Now, if you shop at Joann's regularly, you know that this never happens. And yeah, you can get Simplicity McCall's for $1.99 pretty regularly. So I didn't focus on those because, I can get that sale anytime. $1.99 for Vogue patterns made me a little bit crazy, and I bought 55 of them. Yes, you heard that right. I bought 55 patterns at $1.99 each because, let's face it, I will never be able to buy Vogue patterns that cheap again, and I had to take advantage of it. So today I'm going to show you some of the highlights. I'm not going to show you all 55 patterns, but rest assured they will pop up from time to time over the next year or so, and you will get to see them, and I'll let you know that this is where they came from. When I was going through all these patterns, they weren't in pattern bins at that point. They'd taken them out of all the drawers and they were just kind of in big bins, just kind of randomly thrown together. Now, thankfully, the Vogue patterns were kind of in one section, but it took me a good 2 hours to go through all of them multiple times to make sure I got exactly what I wanted, and even some things that I didn't totally love, but that there were parts of the design that I liked, I picked those up too. So I bought a couple of patterns for shirts, and it turns out that they're very, very similar. And I didn't realize at the time, but once I put all these piles together and started sorting things, I was like, hey, look at that. They both have neckties. So this was a modern knit top. It has the wrap kind of scarf neckline with the keyhole. It comes in a solid version. It comes in a color block version, and it just looks like it's really modern and chic. I think it would look great with jeans and heels. You could dress it up that way or wear it to work. It's good business casual with some slacks. So lots of versatility there. It is specifically made for knit, so that's another added bonus. And I just really like this design. I like that kind of modern, clean look. On the flip side, the other shirt I bought also has the tie around the neck, but this is more of a Jane Fonda in 9 to 5 secretary type shirt. If you remember that movie, she wore these shirts all the time. And I've always really liked that look too. Not specifically the 80s style, but just that look with the tie around the neck. I think it adds a lot of interest, especially if you're going to be wearing a jacket or a suit. It's just, it kind of dresses it up, makes it look a little bit more feminine without going crazy. So one of the really cool things about buying these patterns on sale is that it was an emptying out the pattern cabinets, everything must go kind of thing. And there were out of print patterns included in this. Like these poor patterns that just get left behind from years past and nobody even knew they were there because the catalogs were long gone. So I managed to score some of these. And the funny thing is I didn't even notice the copyright on them until I was just sitting here sorting through all of these and categorizing them. And some of the drawings look a little bit older than others. So that kind of was the tip off. And this is actually the oldest pattern that I got. This one was printed in 2004. So imagine that this poor pattern was just in that cabinet forever and nobody even knew it was there. And then I saved it and brought it home with me. So I was very lucky that it happened to be in my size. And one thing I love about Vogue patterns is that they make some very classic looks. So this is actually part of the Vogue Basic Design series. This is a very classic skirt. It comes in 4 different styles, and this will be a good skirt for years to come. So even once I make it, as long as I don't use some kind of crazy print or fabric that's very trendy, this is something that can just be a staple in my wardrobe forever. And that's one of the cool things about being able to sew your own clothes is that you can make these classic pieces and not have to hunt for them at stores where maybe that's not the trend and you're not going to be able to find this. So added bonus of this one. This is another one that I got. This is some pants. I was really excited about these pants because they actually are low rise, and that actually says in the description, fitted below waist pants. And I'm like, yes, low waist pants. These are from 2013, so not quite as old as the other ones, but you know, great kind of classic pant made in a knit, and they'd be super comfortable for travel or workout, loungewear, that kind of thing. It's just a good classic design. I love a good jacket, and I've always wanted a classic Chanel style jacket. And thankfully I was able to find not 1, but 2 patterns that were in that style. These are Claire Schaefer's custom couture collection, and apparently they have easy to follow instructions and design secrets and sewing secrets. And let's see, this one was from 2012, this one's from 2014, so I'm pretty sure both of these are out of print now. But I was very excited about them because, like I said, I've always wanted this kind of a boucle Chanel type jacket. And when I was in Spain, I found some fabric that it was actually called Chanel fabric, even though it wasn't like the brand Chanel, it was that type of fabric. And it would go perfectly for either of these patterns. So I'm gonna hold on to these for my next trip to Spain, and then I'll have the perfect excuse to go buy some of that fabric. If you're enjoying this video and all these cool patterns that I'm showing you, be sure to like and subscribe. Better yet, leave a comment below and let me know which pattern's your favorite and which one you think I should sew next. Earlier, when I talked about buying patterns where I liked part of the design but not the entire design, I actually got a couple of those, and this is one of them. So this is a newer pattern. This is from 2021. It's a newer design. It's in the new kind of fancy glossy envelopes with photos instead of drawings. And I absolutely love these sleeves. I mean, look at those sleeves. They are gorgeous. They are these huge dropped shoulder balloon sleeve, and I just thought they were beautiful. But the dress, not great. I think it would look so much better if it was a little bit fitted, maybe put some princess seams in there to give that more of a nice hourglass look with those gorgeous sleeves. I think it'd be really elegant. I was showing this pattern to my friend Jen, and she suggested, why don't you just cut it off and make it into a really great blouse? And I was like, hey, you might have something there. It would be a great blouse. You could adjust the pattern so that you wouldn't necessarily have to permanently remove the skirt. You could just trace it off and use it as a top. And I might do that one day if I find the right fabric, because I really, really love these sleeves and I just think they are gorgeous. So sometimes you find something and it kind of starts out as a joke, and then once you start thinking about it, you're like, maybe in the right fabric that would work. That's exactly what happened with this pattern. Now, this started out as a total joke. I took pictures of this pattern and texted it to my friend Jen, my other friend Jackie, with the caption, Dr. Craig would love this. Back in college, when we were all in the textile and apparel design program at the University of Texas, our professor, Dr. Craig, loved to tell us that our designs would be better if they had fringe. And as you can see, this is a super fringy kind of design. And I just thought of Dr. Craig as soon as I saw it and had to share it with my friends who also experienced her love of fringe. But then I was thinking about it and I thought, in the right fabric that's not white, this could be a really cool dress. So picture this, black fabric, big red roses, kind of flamenco dancer-esque, and put some black fringe on that, you would have a really knockout dress. So if I can find the right fabric, that could happen sometime in the future. If you've been watching my channel for a while, you've probably noticed that I really like skirts. I have several skirt videos. Skirts are one of those things that I just think you can never have too many of. And when I make a skirt, it gives me the option to go really crazy with the fabric, because as long as I can pair it with a solid color top, I can pretty much use anything I want. Now, of course, during my Vogue pattern haul, I picked up some new skirt patterns. The funny thing is that I did not realize these were all wrap skirts. And if you look at them, they don't all look like wrap skirts. This one in the middle is kind of the most obvious. This one might be a close second, but this is the one I really did not realize was a wrap skirt. When you look at the drawings on the back, it doesn't look like a wrap skirt. It looks like it's a straight skirt with like a dropped kind of panel, but it's not, it's a wrap skirt. This one is from 2013, so I'm pretty sure it's out of print, but I really liked it because it's kind of a dressy wrap skirt, and I think you could make this in wool. Let's see what the fabric suggestions are. Wool, flannel, gabardine, and crepe. So it would be a good winter skirt, and I love an asymmetric hemline. The beauty of an asymmetric hem is that you do not have to be perfect, because nobody's going to be checking it. It's not a straight hem, so you can really see if, ooh, it's a little longer on that side. Makes it so much easier for sewing. So that's something I will definitely be making once we get into cooler temperatures here in Texas. So like, January. The other two patterns are both currently in print. So this one is a 2001, this is a 2002, and I actually bought multiple copies of this for my friend Jen because she specifically asked for this one. I found this one which was similar, and they're both really nice patterns and they're both easy patterns. So it's always fun to sew with an easy pattern because you get it done faster. So one thing I'm hoping is that in the future, probably sometime this fall, Jen will sit down with me and we will do a pattern review of this video, and then we will show you our versions of the skirt. This is one of the patterns that I picked up that I didn't really think anything of. I thought it was a pretty dress, thought it might be a good classic design. It does have a giant bow at the waist that I'm not loving because I don't love bows, but I thought the silhouette was really pretty, something I could work with. It wasn't until I got home and started reading about the different fabrics that I got really excited about this pattern. Now, the recommended fabrics are moderate stretch knits and neoprene scuba fabric, which just totally blew my mind, because if you watched my grand opening Joann's video, you know that they now have neoprene fabric, and I'm so excited because when I talked about that fabric, it was just kind of an aspiration. Maybe this will be fun to use sometime. I didn't know I already had the pattern, and that is awesome. So you can bet this dress will be coming up sometime in the next year when I need a black cocktail dress, because I really want to sew using neoprene fabric. A couple more patterns that I just want to point out that give you a little bit more bang for your buck are these Vogue pattern kind of wardrobe patterns. You can get these, they come in a bunch of different separates, so this is great if you're trying to sew a capsule wardrobe. This one is a 2020 pattern with a jacket and pants. This is an older pattern from 2016. It has a jacket, pants, a top, a dress, a vest, a skirt. So you got a lot of options here, and you get a little bit more for your money if you are working on making a capsule wardrobe. So these are definitely patterns to consider and put on your list so you can pick them up when they go on sale for $5.99, because let's face it, $35 is still a lot even when you get two different things. The last category that I want to share with you today are coats. Now, I did pick up quite a few coat patterns because I love a good coat and I'm traveling to New York to go fabric shopping, and I want to be on the lookout for some fabrics to make these coats with. So these are a couple that I found. I really love this red coat with the asymmetric front. I think that's very classic. I like a good knee-length coat. Every so often you need a coat here in Texas, so I like something that looks a little bit different than what everyone else has. This is another one I really like. You can kind of see it better in the purple, but I like the shorter version better. It's kind of a cape cloak, so you put the cape and then you belt it in, and it kind of looks like a coat, but it's more of a cape pattern when you look at it on the back. Those are just some of the patterns that I picked up in my Vogue Patterns Super Mega Haul, and I hope that you've enjoyed what you've seen. If something stood out to you and you think I should make it, leave it in the comment below along with a fabric suggestion. You never know which one I'm going to start with. There are enough patterns here to keep me busy for a year or more. Let's face it, 55 patterns is quite a lot of sewing, and I've got a lot of really good options. And this gives me an excuse to go shopping for fabric. One thing I forgot to mention is that I did pick up 3 menswear patterns, so there will definitely be some menswear coming up in the future. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Until we meet again, happy sewing! Don't go! There's another great video coming up next. You're definitely going to want to watch this one.